Welcome, everyone, to Davos Fingers, episode 148, Flowers and Self-Sufficiency. This is Scaddy, and with me, as always, is my buddy Matt.
Hey, Scad. Hey,
Hey,
hey, fam. Davos
hey.
Fingers fam. This episode, we are covering chapters 60 through 64. The name of those chapters are Fortune through Nine in the Fire. After his successful foray into being a semi-professional musician, Kvothe seeks to use his newfound pipes and relationships in action to gain employment and maybe a patron. But it might not be as easy as he thinks. I mean, who cares, though, when young love is taking root?
Yes, taking root, flowers. See what I did there?
Oh, my gosh.
Before we jump in, just a few little announcements. We had our roast. This is the first time we've spoken since the roast.
Oh, my gosh. That roast.
It
That
was a lot of
roast.
fun. It was a smashing success. Congratulations to you, sir, whose idea it was.
Oh, man, we pulled
Uh,
it off together.
we did, and with the help of our good friends that did the roasting, of course, it would have been nothing without them. So,
Fam, my face hurt, like ached from the laughter.
Yeah, I mean,
It was so cathartic
it
just to
was,
just get together and just laugh.
it was.
Um, Look it up on YouTube as the roast of Stannis Baratheon. It's on our YouTube channel, Davos Fingers Podcast. Please check it out. Not safe for work, not safe for children. Be careful where you're listening to it, but do listen to it.
Yeah,
You will laugh. So
yeah. It's not. Yeah, safety is not a word that should be used with this in really any capacity. You, I mean, it's not really safe to have a drink near your computer or TV if you're watching because you might spit all over it. Uh, I don't think we toot our own horns too much, but that event was really fun, and I think people will enjoy it if they go watch it.
I think they will too. It's
And it,
definitely something that we want to do again.
yes, I think we do. We have several
Yeah.
candidates. It was kind of fun after the event, actually. The roasters, we had a little chat going right on, what was it, Twitter, I think, um, with the roasters, and they they were kind of participating in trying to see who the next
Yeah.
candidate should be.
As the first timers, they're kind of like honorably the roast committee from now on. So if you were a roaster with us, you're kind of
Yeah,
part of our roast committee from here on out. Doesn't mean you have to participate in the future, but there's some special privileges afforded, I think.
yeah, and
We,
of course we welcome new people as well to do some roasting. But
of course, we threw around Jon Snow,
mhm, we did.
Jamie. That'd be a
Jamie
good
would be
one. What
fun.
would be savage would be Theon. Oh my gosh.
Theon could
Oh
be
man.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
Uh if we really want to alienate ourselves from a very intense corner of the fandom, we'll do Danny.
Oh yeah. Sansa could put some blood in the water.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah. We could make
Catelyn.
some enemies. Oh, uh, uh, let's do
The
it right
she
around a Song of Madness time and just really ruffle some feathers.
she did nothing roast.
The she did nothing roast.
Instead of she did nothing wrong. Uh
Anyways, check it out,
yes.
please. You'll enjoy
Yes.
it.
You'll enjoy it. 500 something views on YouTube. It's our number one video for sure, as people found it. But go check it out if you haven't watched it yet. Next month, this month really, getting back to A Song of Ice and Fire. It's going to be a little late because we have some conflicts for recording, but we're going to get back to the We Should Start Back project. It'll be the next 100 pages of Game of Thrones. We're going to cover Daenerys 2 through Eddard 4. It's roughly pages 100 to 200, not exactly, but close in the US paperback. These are quicker reviews. We don't do like a full-on chapter summary. We just kind of like to sit back and talk a little bit more relaxed about how our views of these chapters have changed over the years since we started this podcast so many years ago,
Yeah.
9 years ago. And also sometimes how the fandom seems to have changed on some of these events and characters in that time too. It's been the first episode we did, I thought was really fun to journey back through. And yeah, looking forward to doing that again. That'll come out, roughly probably second week of November or so.
And you can check that previous episode out on our Patreon page,
That's right.
along with all of our monthly Patreon content that we release for patrons. We'd love to have
Right.
you over there.
Yeah, that will be for patrons only. So check it out. I think that's all we have for announcements.
Yep.
Yeah, we got something else coming in November too. We're still putting our details together on it, but anyway, look for that. So moving on to King Killer Chronicle. We are spoiler free with King Killer Chronicle, just like we did for Song of Ice and Fire when we originally covered it. That means there will be no spoilers past the part of the book we are covering today. That is until, of course, the end of the episode when we have a special segment called Devi After Dark. So listen with ease until then, and if you want to jump off and get no spoilers, do it. We'll warn you, but stick around for some extra fun afterward.
Please do, and we love to hear from you. So reach out to us, send us some questions, send us some comments. We'd love to even read them on the air. So you can find us at wearedavosfingers@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at davosfingers. We have the same handle over on Blue Sky. You can find and like us on Facebook, and you can learn more about our Patreon program at patreon.com/davosfingers.
That's right. Shall we dive? We just dive right in there, Matt.
Chapter 60.
Chapter 60. Fortune. Sporting a nasty hangover from what had to be one of the best nights in his life, in which he earned his talent pipes by playing one of the hardest songs in the world on only 6 strings of a 7-string lute, Kvothe is now back to drudging reality, standing in line for the admissions lottery. Regardless, he draws a good slot, 5 days from now, but he elects to trade it. He can't get into the library to study anyway. Why not make some coin and just get his admissions over with? But no sooner than putting his hand up, he is confronted by Ambrose, who needs to trade back. They have yet another pissing contest in which Ambrose agrees to pay a talent and 3 bits, until Kvothe mentions that he understands that nobles only dicker about and haggle prices when they are truly on hard times. Kvothe indicates that he is not above a little charity for the needy and offers to trade the tile to Ambrose for a halfpenny. The gathered crowd eats it up, and Kvothe takes a bow as Ambrose exits, affronted. Willem scores a minor victory for Kvothe. Not your best work, really, says Sim. Kvothe settles for 6 jots and a favor to be named later. That will come in very handy very shortly. His tuition, after going through admissions that very day, 6 talents. More on that later. Kvothe makes his way back to the Aeolian to pick up his loot after leaving it with Diok the night before. Denna is nowhere to be found, despite his looking on every level, but he does encounter Count Threep, who is stunned by the fact that Kvothe doesn't already have a patron, and bemoans the fact that he can't take on another one himself, already overwhelmed with the 3 he has. But he vows to help Kvothe find a patron to support his pursuit, as he knows everyone with blood or money for 50 miles. Kvothe also takes the chance to ask Threep if he might be able to help find Diane, the girl who sang his harmony last night. Threep is at a loss after Kvothe's truly vague and unhelpful descriptions, and waves Diok over, who knows her instantly, warning Kvothe that men fall to her like wheat to the sickle blade. But Kvothe insists he's just wanting to call on her to pay his respects with a song, nothing else. He's not falling for her. Diok can't tell him where to find her, though. Diane comes and goes. Seems it's not known where she is staying. Next stop on Kvothe's whirlwind hangover day is Devi. He has a little debt to pay off after all. Kvothe technically has the money to pay back the loan and be done with it and still afford his tuition, since he got 8 talents from Count Threep just the previous night. But he would have quite literally 0 money left after that in tuition, and Kvothe had some other debts to pay. So he pays back just 2 talents, just the interest. They make some small talk about Devi's business. We're reminded how thorough and careful she is with it, having once been accused of lending in her manner, but quickly being absolved for lack of evidence and exploring her book collection, which is quite impressive as well. Kvothe and Devi seem to both have a strong appetite for reading, she inviting him to come by and read anytime, so long as his hands are clean, and he left wondering if she was being flirtatious or friendly, or maybe a little both. Next, we learn of one of these additional debts Kvothe has, to Kilvin's shop for materials used over the course of his last semester. 1 talent, 7 jots, and 3 shims is exactly what he owes. He pays it off. Kilvin is as shocked to see him pay it as Kvothe is that the new number that Kilvin had known that number right off the top of his head. After hearing that Kvothe made his money in one night across the river playing music, Kilvin says goodbye to Kvothe, assuming that he wouldn't be wasting any more time making anything but music any longer. But I want to work here, Kvothe says. Oh, good. Not have wanted to lose you to the other side of the river. Music is a fine thing. Metal lasts. Kvothe can't help but disagree silently. Metal rusts. Music lasts forever. Last stop, into the line, as Kvothe goes to find employ as a musician at a well-established, reasonably high-end inn on the university side of the river, the Horse and Four. No more muse for our boy Kvothe. He will play 3 nights a span and get a room, food, and 2 whole talents a month. This reader can almost feel Kvothe start to rise above his money problems. And Kvothe does too, as he falls asleep well-fed with venison and tomato soup and in his new feather bed. And that's the end of the chapter. And it was a long one.
Yeah, well summarized. This was a good chapter for our little hungover boy. We had some great stuff happen. Lots of hills and valleys in the King Killer Chronicle, The Name of the Wind. And this was a hill chapter.
Yes.
You know,
we used to call these, when in a Song of Ice and Fire, we used to call these sometimes catch-up chapters, right? Where we just got to kind of catch up with the business of the story.
Get a lot of stuff done. Thankfully, the stuff that's being done all goes in Kvothe's favor. You know, he drew a great chit for his admissions exam.
He did.
And then he got to, you know, humiliate Ambrose a little bit, which felt good in the moment, but as we're going to see, is not great for him later. We have Threep offering himself as Kvothe's agent, essentially.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like,
I mean,
for him, nice
even if
guy.
nothing comes of that, it's good to have friends in high places, right?
Correct. And Threep is, not only does he have money, but he's very popular. He has a great reputation. He's a good man to know across the river. Things go well with Devi. He's got a potential library backup plan now if he can't get into the archives.
Very limited library, yeah.
But something.
Yep.
He gets his job back at the fishery. and he gets a great residency.
Yeah.
For playing music, right? A great, awesome opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about that before, right? Like, he could just stop all this Chandrian nonsense and just go find an inn somewhere and just play and just be content.
He's on his way.
But would he be content though?
No.
He's like a doer. Like, he wants to go do stuff. I think he'd get bored, right? Even if he didn't have the Chandrian, I feel like he'd get bored.
Yeah. He's gonna get some advice from 2 masters, the same advice later on in these chapters. It's quite telling about our boy Kvothe. But yeah, good stuff for him. What do you got? What stuck out to you?
Well, just a quick note. I mean, I'm sure I was better at this when I was younger than I am now, but my hangover day would have consisted of admissions than bed. I mean, this guy he's hungover and he is out there doing everything. I mean, this is a busy day.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't think about it, but really the only time it talks about his hangover, if I remember right, is at the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe a bit of a miss. Not an important miss.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The young recover from things quicker than the old do.
That's true. He's 15 years old.
It's noted. I mean, I was never drunk at 15, but it was just noted so strongly how much they drank in the last chapters that it feels like he'd be in rough shape. Yeah. And it's not really mentioned about. I don't think they mention it for Sim and Willem at all.
Right.
And with him, it's kind of more of an afterthought. Anyway, it's not worth spending much time on, but I just wanted to note it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was also annoyed at Pat for Count Threep's first name. Like, remember this? It's like Denays.
Yeah.
And he wants to be called Den. Like, fucking really, Pat? We already got to deal with all of Denna's D names. This one's like exactly the same. You couldn't pick something else?
But I understand completely because of the books that we have been reading together
Yes,
for the past almost 10 years.
you're right.
Where
Child's
Rhaenyra,
play.
Rhaenys,
Yeah. Yeah. Child's play compared to what George did to us
oh my
in
heavens.
some degree.
But I get it. I get it. Like, come on. What's with D's for you, buddy? Rothfuss likes the D. Okay. Whoops. Um,
You know, whatever works for you.
that's fine.
Do you want to talk about the
Uh,
money thing, the debt thing, his choice with Devi?
yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about the debt and how uncomfortable it makes us before. I think you and I both. He's got 8 talents in his pocket,
Hmm.
right? And he could just be basically just done with the thing. He could just pay it,
Yeah.
and he could be out of the woods because he already had 2 talents or whatever. He got 8 from 3. He could just pay this, have enough for tuition, and be done.
100%.
Just do it, man.
That's
like,
where I'm at. Yep.
like, uh,
Pay it off. Go play another night at the Aeolian. Get some more pocket change. You'll be all right, dude.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to get your get your take on it real quick.
I'm 100% with you. I would rather just be out from under it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from his perspective, and I think this is maybe it's admirable, and maybe it's just a way he's very different than me, but I think he just believes in his ability to pull this off. He believes he's going to be able to make this 4 talents no problem.
Yeah.
Right? He looks at last night. He's like, I made 8 talents in one night. I can make the 4 for interest easy. Right? If I just stick with the artificing and stick to the music. This is of course before he got his job, which would, you know, 2 talents a month that would cover it. So
100%.
maybe it's just he believes in himself. I don't know whether it's admirable or exhausting,
We've talked about that before,
but
that he does have that tremendous ability to bet on himself all the time.
yeah,
And
yeah, he does.
I admire
And
that.
big. And he bets big.
Oh yeah. 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 All in. All in. Um, speaking of all in, Will says about Ambrose to Kvothe, every time you do this, it makes the eventual payback that much worse.
Yeah.
And we're about to see how that goes for him.
Yeah.
Kvothe said before that he has to stand up to Ambrose, going back to his days in Tarbine. He kind of needs to puff himself up like a peacock or something
Yeah.
to kind of show that I'm not going to be pushed around. You can't just say those types of things to me. I kind of feel like with his music, his natural abilities that he's demonstrated, whether he's at the university or at the Aeolian, he's demonstrating a tremendous amount of, I got talent. I can
In
hold my own.
spades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just shut your mouth, dude. Kvothe. Just shut your mouth, Kvothe. Because it
Yeah.
does get worse for you every time. Shut
Yeah.
your mouth. Let your talents do your talking. Let your work at the university do the talking. Let your music do the talking. And shut your freaking mouth at this point. Who cares about what
Yeah.
Ambrose is saying? You don't have to prove anything to him anymore, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone at the university anymore. Shut up.
Yeah. I think with age comes some of that wisdom to like just let how much better you are than him do all the talking. You got your pipes.
Yep,
You
exactly.
accelerated through all the programs at the university quicker than he did. You can write poetry. Like you don't, like just let your actions speak. But he's 15 years old or 15 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. And he
15.
just he doesn't have that wisdom at all. And he's very prideful.
Yeah,
Um,
he's as prideful as he is talented. That's for sure.
and you know, I'm not going to pretend I'm above that stuff too. I mean, let your actions just speak for it, maybe. But I take that kind of bait all the time too, and it's hard not to sometimes. And for them at this point,
Tremendously.
there's there's so much water under the bridge that nobody knows what the real score is, and so they both feel
Hatfield and
like they've
McCoys, baby. Hatfield
yeah
and McCoys, right? At this
they
point.
both feel like they've got to always just get back at the other one.
Yep.
But yeah, we're about to find out just how damaging that can be,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, just just put your when you see him approaching, just put your hand down and pretend you don't have a title to sell. Move
Right.
on. Just go talk to somebody else. Just yeah,
And we have hindsight too.
yeah, true.
So, but bugs me still. And even understanding that he's a 15-year-old kid
Yeah,
and all of the things he's gone through and how his life experience is a lot different than mine, it can still bother me.
yeah. Of course it can. It's also I always like to try to remember like it's him telling us this story in the inn. So like he's
Mm-hmm.
aware of like what an idiot he was, right? He even said it at the end of one of those chapters, either the last episode or the one before, where he's like, I couldn't have been more wrong about how big of a threat he was,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he's not sparing any details and not making himself look any better as he tells this story. So it does speak to some degree that he's gained some of that wisdom, even at his ripe young age of whatever he is, 24 or whatever he is now, is the old man coat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Old man coat.
yeah.
uh Threep not taking on new musicians. I noted that one. I mean, it says the fact that he wouldn't take on Kvothe because he already has three other,
yeah.
what do you call him? He's a patron for three other musicians,
Yeah.
is incredibly admirable. It demonstrates tremendous loyalty on Threep's part because he's got, friggin' LeBron James up there. And
Yeah.
and he's an agent for crap. I back myself into a corner because I don't know enough basketball players to say that. I should use hockey. Who are three like decent basketball players?
Yeah, sure. We got ex-jazz man Donovan Mitchell. We got
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, there's tons.
Yeah,
I think we get your metaphor.
you got
right?
it. Draymond Green, could he be one?
Steph Curry. Although
I don't know, Steph Curry's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I was trying to pick players that are maybe like subpar. Like
Maybe they're
subpar.
still playing
Donovan
on.
Mitchell was good.
They're like
But
playing on the
yeah.
All-Star team, but they're
John
not
Wall.
those
He's got
legends.
John Wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So you've got those three guys,
Yeah.
and then you just saw LeBron James play. You're telling me you wouldn't be willing to drop Wall and Green and Mitchell for LeBron,
It's true. I wonder what I can't remember exactly how far he goes into like his responsibilities, but he says they bicker already with the three of them, that he doesn't give them enough or have enough time for them. Like, I don't know what he had. Like, isn't it just money? Like, if it's just money, couldn't you just be like, okay, look, I can't spend a bunch of time hooking you up with play dates and everything, but I can sponsor you a little bit, like half patron. I don't know. I don't know what it takes to be a patron.
Yeah,
for these guys other than money, because it
just
seems like
being
he's got
rich.
plenty of money.
Yeah.
He threw 8 talents from his purse haphazardly the previous night.
Yep. I admire him tremendously for his loyalty. Good on you.
Yeah.
Threep, for sticking with your three guys.
True. Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
What did you just let go?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
We will. Anyways.
Yeah. You want to talk Devi real quick?
Oh, Devi.
Besides the loan, I mean.
Okay.
Is she flirting with him?
Yeah, she's totally
flirting
with him. I think so. Well,
part of me thinks she's just bored. She doesn't get like any visitors, so she's just like, let me keep him around a little bit.
Hey, yeah, we've never seen her in any other interaction with any other man, woman, or child, for that matter.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
In these books. So we see how she acts with Kvothe, and it does feel flirtatious.
Yeah.
But we don't see if that's just her personality.
Yeah. It also seems
just bored.
Well, maybe bored isn't the right way. I mean, the people that come to see her are not. I don't get the impression she has friends coming to visit a lot.
Sure.
The people that come to see her are probably scared of her, right? they're there to conduct business, and they probably don't want to like make it a long stay and make it more than just business.
Yeah.
And so she probably doesn't get a lot of meaningful human interaction of any kind.
Right. Stimulating
Yeah,
interaction.
and
Yeah.
Kvothe is game. He's just kind of he'll talk to her, and they got kind of a lot in common. Um, so it's just kind of I don't know. Maybe bored wasn't the right way to put it, but I think you get what I mean.
That line in Wayne's World, and he's like, then I realized I was just bored.
Yeah.
But I can't remember to what he's referring to in it.
He says yeah, with kissing disease. What's it called? Oh yeah, one time I
Oh,
thought I had mono for an
mono
entire
for an
year.
entire year.
Turns out I was just really bored.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. That's just the
Yeah.
line that I just heard Wayne Campbell saying that in my head when you said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then of course, Scad, I just identified tremendously with the music lasting forever, right?
I knew you would. Yeah,
Love
I
that
put a
line.
note down about it.
Yeah.
Music and metal. How about we just make it metal
Metal
music?
music and let that last forever.
It
F
shall.
yeah. F yeah.
Raise your goblet of rock.
That's a good movie. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that mostly covers it.
Okay. You want
All
to go
right,
to
let's move
chapter
on.
City One?
61, Jackass, Jackass, take it away.
Jackass, Jackass. Um, so we were at a hill of a chapter. Get ready to descend into some valley for old Quoth. With it being the equivalent of between semesters, Kvothe had a lot of time to rest, work, and to go to Imre to look for Denna. After a dozen such jaunts proved unfruitful, he had to admit to himself that Denna was well and truly gone. Sigh. He got some additional bad news while in Imre from his buddy Count Threep at the Aeolian. Ambrose had been mounting a smear campaign against Kvothe, particularly amongst the nobles, and he'd done a pretty good job at it too. Not one was willing to become his patron. So Kvothe and Threep did what any two creatives would do. They came up with a diss track for Ambrose, which they called Jackass Jackass, a nod to Ambrose's last name, Jackiss. Yep. The song never actually mentioned Ambrose by name, but, quote, anyone with half a wit could tell who the shoe was meant to fit, end quote. The song was catchy and spread quickly after its first performances at the Aeolian, which is great, right? Our boy Kvothe has a hit song on his hands. Kvothe also still had some money, meaning he could buy back his old book, Rhetoric and Logic. Remember that one, Scad? Given to him by Abinthy? Oh, it seemed like a lifetime ago. He was going to go buy it back from Master Lauren. You'll remember Kvothe had pawned the book in Tarbine before moving to the university, and Lauren, upon finding this out, went back to Tarbine, bought it from the pawn shop, and had been holding it for Kvothe ever since. Kvothe did buy it back, and then while he was there in Lauren's office, used the opportunity to plead for readmittance to the archives. You remember, Lauren had banned him from the archives because Kvothe had taken a candle and had it amongst some of the university's oldest and most precious documents. Surprisingly, at a loss for words and confidence, Kvothe stumbled through a pleading apology to Master Lauren. He used his whipping earlier that day as an excuse for not being in his right mind at the time, but claimed he would gladly be whipped again if he could just gain readmittance to the archives. He'd work there for free. He'd do anything. Master Lauren, as you can imagine, was unmoved. He would allow Kvothe back into the archives once he could, quote, demonstrate the patience and prudence which you have heretofore been lacking. Good day. That was that. Don't worry, though. The fun continues for Kvothe. The next day, he was called to appear at the Horns. Remember that? It's when you get to appear before all the masters at the university on a charge of conduct unbecoming a member of the Arcanum. It was his song. That was the reason. Ambrose was there, and he was accusing Kvothe of slander. The chancellor quickly dismissed the charge on the grounds that no one could prove the song was actually about Ambrose, and he lessened the charge to undignified mischief. Band name, I call it Scad. Discipline is in store, and it would be levied in the form of a public letter of apology. But even with that, it was Ambrose who I feel took the worst of it in that little meeting. He brought up what was seen as a very trivial charge towards the masters in the first place, and the chancellor let him know that he was not pleased with being bothered with such a trivial matter. Anyways, the hits keep coming for Kvothe. Not long after, the Horse and Four Inn, where Kvothe was luxuriously staying, as Scad summarized, it got a new owner all of a sudden. And that owner would not allow Kvothe to board there. Fired him, basically, kicked him out. Kvothe went around peddling his abilities to other inns, confident that with his pipes he would be able to get a new job somewhere else. But not one on either side of the river would take him in, except for one. The old, reliable, rundown Anchors. And Kvothe was thankful for it. Anchor was getting a talent like Kvothe at a bargain price, but Kvothe was comfortable there. He got a room to stay in, and he liked it, even as he was furious at Ambrose for what his nemesis had cost him. And it was in that anger that Kvothe composed his formal apology letter to Ambrose. In it, he included a full transcription of the lyrics to Jackass, Jackass, along with 2 newly written unperformed verses, and an apology for each ribald, vulgar dig and innuendo mentioned in the song, line item by line item. He printed over 100 copies, calling in a favor that Scad mentioned earlier, and he and his friends pasted those copies all over town using a special adhesive that would be very hard to remove. This letter was beyond foolish, and upon later reflection, Kvothe realized it may have been one of the primary reasons Ambrose later tried to kill him. And on that note, the chapter ends.
Yeah. Where to start? This is a bit of a whirlwind one. Going up on the horns and Ambrose getting the punishment, the worst kind of punishment, kind of getting admonished for bringing it up at all, is like when my youngest comes up screaming, like, Mary called me a jerk. Well, okay. Do I have to referee this again? Like, you're wasting my time.
Yep.
Ignore him, move on. Mary, don't do it, but like, you're wasting my time. Just please resolve this yourselves. You're old enough to figure this out.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Ambrose has come from privilege, and that was definitely showing.
But the result still, even though it feels like Ambrose got the worst of it, really downstream, as Kvothe indicates, that it kind of results in him trying to kill him, and Ambrose trying to kill him. Maybe Kvothe really does get the worst of this.
I mean, yeah, and not to mention, what goes on with him not being able to get a patron. I guess that's prior, but now losing his job. Scad, when it comes to revenge, money can matter.
It totally can matter. And he had been warned about this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he was it Willem, I think, in several chapters ago now, said that that Ambrose was seeing a woman who just like disappeared, I think.
Ooh.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that he had circumstances arise somehow by paying someone off to spread rumor or something. I mean, like, he's not above using his money to get these results, as he's done with these taverns. And we mentioned a long time ago, we had an episode where we kind of talked about heroes and villains, that he runs into so many of them that just kind of become minor heroes in his story.
Yeah.
Anchor is another one, right? Who's just not intimidated.
Good call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not going to be controlled. Mm-hmm. Owns the tavern himself and doesn't want to be bought. It's a little surprising. Feels like almost everybody has a price. Like, What if he doubled it? What if he tripled it?
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
like Ambrose has that kind of money.
I mean, obviously, if he's paying off, I mean,
Dozens of bars
how
or a
many ends?
dozen. Yeah, a dozen
Yeah.
inns. Yeah.
Like,
Some of
what
them he
was he
literally had them
offering these
bought. Yeah.
innkeepers?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. So Anchor, yeah, a minor hero to me, one of my favorite minor characters in this story.
Good
And
call.
you get that part when he's in his room there where he says he was home.
Hmm.
And that, the first time he's felt home since being with his caravan, right?
What do you think brought up those feelings of home at Anchor specifically?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because Anchor feels more salt of the earth, like
Mm-hmm.
his family was,
Yeah.
um, to him. I don't know if it's anything specifically about the location or the room itself. He kind of describes it smaller, but it wouldn't really have reminded him of his troop at all, right? Which is very
Right.
much outside a lot of the time, and circling wagons are very kind of um, a public, right, with the rest of the family and open. This is, it's just a little room by himself. So it is
Yeah.
a little bit weird that it makes him feel that way. Maybe
I'd
what he
be
means is like settled or safe.
safe. Yeah. You've got a guy downstairs that can't be bought.
Yeah,
Right. So there's safety in that.
yeah,
It'd be interesting. I just thought of this to go back and look at the description to Kvothe's hideaway in Tarbine
yeah. With the
and see
sloped, yeah,
how
yeah,
much it matches up to how he describes this and if there's maybe something there. But I do like what you're saying about the safety of it too.
yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. And
I
I
do
mean,
remember there he talks about how the ceiling is sloped in this room, and there was like a sloped overhang or something that helped in
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
Tarbine location, if I remember right. So
Yeah,
maybe something to that.
right. I like it. Um there's some humor in this. Rothfuss writes these, you know, we got a friend on Twitter at Dong of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
Great human. Um,
she's
talking
fantastic. Yeah.
talking to her on I can't remember if it was on Blue Sky or Twitter for a little bit. She was saying that she tried to read the King Killer Chronicle and kind of gave up.
Oh yeah, I
And
saw that.
I
She did
said,
never got any information about the Chandrian or something.
yeah, yeah. And I said, you know, I've started just reading it as like a teenage romance, like a high school dramedy story, like
Yeah.
freshman in college type thing. And that just increased my enjoyment of it immensely. And she said, well, maybe I'll give it another try. I hope you do, my friend. And she said, I'll listen to it from that perspective and see if I like it more. But Rothfuss throws these things in there that are just so like charming and funny. And the specific line I'm referring to, after my sixth fruitless trip to Imre, I decided to abandon my search. After my ninth, I convinced myself it was a waste of valuable time. After my 14th trip, I
Yeah.
came to the deep realization that I wouldn't find her.
Yes. But he's not done looking anyway.
No, he's not.
We'll see in a upcoming chapter.
He has a humor to him
Yes, he does.
that is it's effortless
Yeah.
and you know immense this very heavy story, and we've dealt with some very heavy themes
Yeah.
in this book so far. There's casual bits of just charming comedy that just delight me.
Yeah. I'm thinking of your teen romance novel, and part of me wants to hate it. But I can't argue with it either. Like it, yeah, like a
Yeah,
coming of age story, but
right. Yeah,
except the guy already is good at everything and
right.
just needs to get over a few flaws.
It's an incredibly shallow way to look at it, but if you're reading it from that perspective, it kind of sheds
Yeah.
this, you see it from a different light and it's kind of fun. So
Yeah, I mean, like to some degree, a lesson for life, right? Like if you just take a step back from things and take them a little less seriously,
mhm.
and just kind of like enjoy them for what they are. I'm terrible at that. But if you can do it, yeah, things might just be a lot easier for you, like in life.
Yeah, listen, fam. Some of my favorite movies are Can't Hardly Wait,
Mm,
Clueless, uh, There's some early 2000s Amanda Bynes films that I enjoy.
Mean
I
Girls,
mean,
which we covered with the
Mean
Calisar.
Girls. Yep. So looking at it from this perspective should surprise nobody
It's true.
when it comes to me. Um,
Uh,
yeah. What else you got? I do have, I need to make a mention. There's one passage in this that I left out of my summary completely, just because of the fact that the chapter's already really long and this moment didn't really drive the story along at all. But upon arriving at the archives to speak with Master Lauren,
yep.
kind of in the lobby area of the archives, Kvothe encounters a new character, a Scriv / Giller named Viari.
Yeah.
And he seems like a really cool guy. It hurt me a little bit to keep him out of the summary, but I did it, and that's what I did. So there. What do you think of this character and his job?
Well, it fits to keep him out of the summary because it doesn't fit in the chapter.
He's just there, and then he's
it's
gone,
just
and then on with what Kvothe's doing.
yeah, it's like good thing, another Wayne's World reference, I guess. Good thing that guard was there. The information seemed extraneous at the time. Like, no
100%.
spoilers or anything, because I really don't know, but it feels like this is maybe a meaningful interaction, but it doesn't mean anything to us right now.
Correct.
I mean, the guy kind of reminds me a little bit of Aragorn, like a weary road traveler. It mentions like the dust on
Yeah.
his boots or the dirt on his boots, and
But he seems pretty good humored. Like,
yes, yeah,
yeah.
polite and yeah, nice. He knows all the languages. I mean, I think he uses 3 or 4 in that little interaction, talking to Will, and then 2 different languages with Kvothe. I think it seems like he knows everything. Yeah, I mean, we hear about Gillers a little bit. It seems like this guy's meant, I think Willem says, he's meant to go around and collect books, essentially, to bring back.
What a job, right? You just get to
Yeah,
find really cool books. But here's the
but
rub. Homeboy's got scars all over him. He carries
yeah,
2 weapons.
yeah,
Like, how dangerous is this job of going out and collecting books?
right. So more in Devi After Dark, perhaps. But
Correct.
yeah, I mean, it's a real rarity. Quoth mentions he's like, I haven't seen a weapon since I got here. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
carrying weapons. It's not done. Um, so, but the most intriguing thing is, and I don't know how. It's a little weird because if Viari really knows the Rue, like it seems like he does, because he says, if I had more time, I'd stay and give you like an update on the family, right? And he
Yeah.
uses the one
He
family
uses the
phrase,
traditional.
right?
Yep.
Right. So like it could just be that he's well traveled and he speaks to everybody and kind of knows all cultures, and so he's able to just kind of meld and move and talk to anybody kind of with ease, and that's possible. But it feels like he really knows the Rue based on this very limited interaction, and you'd think Kvothe would be not letting this guy out of his sight. Like, okay, well, I'm following you until I hear your story. Like this sounds like exactly the kind of guy that might have information that Kvothe wants. Right?
It's
Like,
like, bye.
I'm stunned that he doesn't just follow this guy. Anyway,
Yep.
I think you're right to kind of leave it out. I don't know how you fit it in. It's just a weird
Right.
little interaction, but it's full of promise for me.
Yeah. There's definitely more to it. Definitely Chris Farley standing guard
Yeah.
outside the concert with information that will be very, very useful to Wayne and Garth later.
Seemed extraneous at the time.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm excited for more Viari if we get him. What about just moving forward into that next conversation with Lauren, which is maybe that's what kept him there, is he did have that piece of his past that he wanted to go get, and
Yeah.
technically was going to get to go back into the archives for like a second just to see Lauren,
just to smell it for a little bit.
Right. So maybe that was the drug that kept him from chasing after Viari. Maybe. What did you think of that interaction?
About what I would expect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, Lauren is. I'm so torn on him. Whether he's
predictable,
a good guy or not a good guy. that goes for VRE too, I suppose, more in Devi After Dark. But it feels it feels like he knows. I don't know that he's doing it on purpose, but he knows exactly how to challenge Kvothe and how to piss
Oh,
him
for
off.
sure.
He
For
he
sure.
challenges him with the one thing he knows Kvothe doesn't have:
Right.
patience.
Yeah.
Like Kvothe is the least patient character I've maybe ever read. I mean, he just doesn't have it in him. And Lauren, for his part, is old, knows exactly how fast time moves and how fast it doesn't move, and is perfectly content to just let him
Yeah.
wait a little bit.
Hmm.
And so it makes you just kind of hate the guy. Like, would you just let him succeed a little bit?
Yeah.
But also, I'm just not sure on him.
Yeah. 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 Owing to Kvothe's pride, sometimes you like to see the prideful get taken down a couple notches.
It's true.
Um, to stand up for Kvothe a little bit, like, how else is he supposed to demonstrate prudence and patience to Lauren in this regard? You know,
Yeah.
it hasn't been in the grand scheme of things that long, but it's been what, 2, 3 quote unquote semesters so
Yeah.
far where Kvothe hasn't been able to take advantage of the archives at all. And it's not like he has Wi-Fi at home to go look stuff up to study and
It's true.
everything. He, I mean, what else is he supposed to do? How else is he supposed to demonstrate prudence and patience? Is he just supposed to just keep going? Like,
And you know, maybe Lauren just really believes in his ability to do without, but how do they expect him to succeed at the university without
that's what I
access to that
mean.
resource, right?
That's what
Like,
I mean. He can't go just look stuff up on the internet.
yeah.
Like,
So
he needs that to be
yeah,
successful.
it feels a little unfair. And you're right. It almost feels like Lauren trying to stack the deck for him to fail,
Yeah. What else is
right?
what? How does he demonstrate prudence and patience to Lauren? How does he do that
Yeah.
besides just waiting it out another semester, being at a disadvantage from the other students,
Yeah.
and each time
That
his admissions money
goes
going
up.
up?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So it seems like he's almost trying to like stack it against him, right? But also he has many opportunities to do more and do worse. Every time he goes up on the horns, Lauren seems measured and not vindictive. He
Right.
seems kind of he seems kind of normal, right? Kind of like himself.
Yep.
So it
He
doesn't
voted
feel
for him
like
to be, you know,
right.
for the
Yeah.
charge to be dismissed when it came to the, in the last chapter. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's an interesting take that he's got, right?
Hmm.
Um and I'm not sure I'm
Is
really
it
he's one of
tough
the characters I'm
love?
really not sure what to
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah. I feel you, brother.
Yeah.
I feel you. Okay.
Um
The apology letter is not prudent. Uh,
no. No. And he makes a point he make he makes a point to say that he really sat down and wrote this that night in Anchors that first
oh
night
yeah. Yeah.
because he was so angry that he spent
All
hours and
day.
hours getting rejected and that he kind of did it out of revenge. So it's like he knows it'd be interesting to know whether he knew he was doing it for that reason in the moment or whether he just knows it now that he's telling it for us to us from the tavern, right? Did he know then that he was really doing it out of spite and revenge for that day? I don't know, but it's a bad idea regardless. You'd think he would have learned his lesson from the afternoon he just had, but instead he doubles down.
He doubles the freak down. And I was reminded of the great line in A Knight's Tale. One of my favorite moments, the Geoffrey Chaucer character. I will eviscerate you in fiction. Every
Good one.
pimple, every character flaw. I
Yeah.
was naked for a day. You will be naked for eternity, he says.
Uh, yeah, I think that was the first thing I saw him in, and he was just so good.
He's so great in that. Yeah.
Paul Bettany, who we're
Paul Bettany,
referring
one of my
to
favorite actors.
in A Knight's Tale. If you haven't seen A Knight's Tale, really go watch it. It's hilarious.
How have we not
And
covered it for Films Get Fingered? It is such a good movie.
We had people vote on it once.
Yeah,
It didn't win. I think it was kind of close, but it didn't win.
we should
Anyway,
just do it. Yeah, it's such a good
opportunity.
movie. Yep.
I know you just did original music like an episode ago, but it'd be fun to hear Jackass Jackass.
Thought about that. We only really have one line though, and it's the
Yeah,
line
yeah.
that what's his name sings
Yes,
at as
three.
their no, at
Oh
the
yeah,
end.
oh yeah. Elodin sings as
Eloden.
he walks
Yep.
out. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. That's another tongue twist. Aeolian, the place where he plays, and then
Yes,
Elodin,
Elodin.
the
Yeah,
friggin' master.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. That's all I got, buddy, for that
That's
chapter.
all I got too. Let's move it on. Leaves.
Let's do it. Why don't we?
Oh, we wanted to
Oh,
do a quick
pause.
little insert.
This is new, Kalasar.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we like to give recommendations. Us giving recommendations is not new.
we give too many, probably.
Probably more than people
We
want, but
just
you'll
gave
want
one
these
for Knight's
ones.
Tale. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll want these ones. You know, Scad and I were talking about the fact that our friends do so much amazing good amplifying their own voices, and we want to amplify their voices too. So, on these episodes, we thought it might be fun to take a second and recommend a podcast from one of our friends, right? So, this time
Yeah.
we thought that we would recommend Go Scad.
The Star Wars Legends Lounge, which it's a little self-serving of us because we've been on this
Absolutely.
podcast recently. Uh Aaron is the creator and host of the Star Wars Legends Lounge. And right
The
now he
same
has a group.
Aaron who participated in our Meet the Kalasar, longtime Blood
Yes,
Rider. He
correct.
did an episode, clear back. He's one of our beginning Meet the Kalasar guys.
He did the Courtney Penrose chapter, didn't he?
Yeah. And I'm not prepared with the episode
The
number.
number.
Sorry,
No, me
guys.
neither.
But
Yeah.
yep.
But we've been guesting on that along with some of other of our friends in the fandom. Uh, and he does just a fantastic job. The episodes are usually right around an hour. He covers a whole book in that time, does it with a masterful, uh, well put together summary that it doesn't take the whole episode, and then discusses things from that book, of interest. And it's been a blast to be on that with him. Actually, I'm guesting next week, and an episode will be
Mhm.
out roughly the same time this episode publishes. So look for that. But in general, look for the Star Wars Legends Lounge, which they can find where, Matt?
You can find it. I usually listen to it on Spotify, but it's also on YouTube and just about anywhere you get your podcasts.
If you just Google Star Wars Legends Lounge, you can find it. I've listened to it on Apple Music before. But yeah, check it
Yeah.
out.
And he specifically, I don't know if we mentioned this, the podcast covers
Oh yes.
books
Yeah,
from the Star
we're new
Wars
to this.
expanded universe, now known as Legends books. These were the books
Yes.
that came out after the original trilogy, starting in I guess technically one came out in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, called Splinter of the Mind's Eye. But where they really kicked off was in the early 90s with the Heir to the Empire trilogy written by Timothy Zahn, and then continued down up until the Disney acquisition of Star Wars. And it just deals
Yeah.
with all of the stuff that happened in a galaxy far, far away before episodes 7, 8, and 9 came out with Disney.
I gotta tell you, just if you haven't read Legends and you're kind of craving some Star Wars, it is different, right? It's different than the canon Disney's got going now. But it's getting me. It's starting to get me. I used
It's
to kind of
getting you,
scoff at you,
Scatty.
Matt, and
It's getting
be
it.
like,
It's
"Oh, come
getting
on, it
you.
can't be that good." But I'm enjoying it. I mean, I gotta say, not to be like a downer, Ahsoka's like one of my favorite, if not my favorite characters. I'm enjoying these books more than I'm enjoying anything Disney's putting out. Andor was a shining exception,
Sure.
these books are good, man.
These books are great.
They're a fun dive into this universe. It's a kind of a different way to look at the universe for sure. Leia and Han have a very different dynamic than they do in the later movies, sequels. But for an example. But yeah, it's kind of getting me. It's a fun, if you like Star Wars and you've never delved into it, and you're like, I'd like something a little different to try on. Go try it on. It's like
Yeah.
putting on a new pair of pants he never tried before. It's nice.
But they're sort of familiar at the
But
same
they're,
time because they're
yeah,
your characters, and after a while it becomes a part of you. We're
they
doing a
become a
lot of
part of
Wayne's World
you.
tonight.
It's a lot of Wayne's World.
Not
Yeah.
planned. Yeah, specifically the books that we are reading and guesting on with Aaron is a 19-book series within this expanded universe called the New Jedi Order series. It takes place
25 years? Is it?
25-ish years, yeah, after the events of episode 4. So
I
you've
got one
got,
right here.
yeah, yep. We it's, Luke Skywalker has brought Jedi back to the galaxy, trained a whole new order of Jedi. Uh, you've got Han and Leia, you've got Wedge Antilles, you got Admiral Akbar, familiar favorites, old and new. Definitely, we've loved reading those ones. There are some stinkers in the Star Wars expanded universe, fam, but this New Jedi Order is great. The aforementioned Heir to the Empire trilogy by Timothy Zahn is also fantastic. So if you're looking for starting points, those would be good places to start.
And you can just start with Aaron's podcast because he'll get you going too.
Looking at, yeah, like Scad said, he summarizes the books and analyzes them. I've been rereading a lot of the Legends books for the past couple of years now, and there's some that I just don't even bother reading because I just listen to Aaron's episodes and I consume them that way.
Nice,
so.
Nice. Anyway, that's
right.
That's our little recommendation for this episode. We'll come back at you next episode with another one of podcasts we recommend.
All right, back to Name of the Wind, chapter 62. Right. Leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the rub, Scad. For Kvothe to have gainful work, he needs to study. Mm-hmm. But to continue studying, he needs to work. So he takes on a lighter study load this semester in order to continue working in the Medica and as an apprentice in the fishery. His hope was that he could learn enough at the fishery, in particular, to pursue his own projects, which he could then sell on commission, which would give him money to pay back Devi so that he could keep studying at the university. It's a lot.
Round and round we go.
Yeah. Anyways, one day in the fishery, Master Kilvin introduces Kvothe and the other Greenwoods, I assume that means students, people that work there, to the workshop's newest addition, a 10-gallon sealed metal container of a substance called Regim Ignal Nerotum, colloquially bone tar. As Manet puts it to Kvothe, it's a caustic substance that boils at room temperature, could eat through bone if it came into human contact, and it burns on contact with air. Experts can use it to make a different type of emitter for sympathy lamps that burns blue instead of the standard red. These blue lamps go for mucho bucks on the open market, and Kvothe instantly sees dollar signs, and he asks Manet to teach him how to produce them. And then, all of a sudden, there she was again. Okay, so it wasn't all that sudden, but one night, as he's playing his normal residency show at Anchors, he saw a girl there watching him who looked similar to, oh wait, that's not similar, that's her. That's Denna. She's there. It was really her. No longer even able to focus on the music that he was playing, he engaged the crowd in singing Tinker Tanner to the point that they were singing and making up new verses all on their own, most of them in varying states of inebriation, just so that he can slip away by him with the girl he'd been searching for ever since that night at the Aeolian Clearback in episode 147. So he's escaped from his job, and while they stroll in the evening darkness, Kvothe brings up Savoy. And to his satisfaction, Denna doesn't seem too keen on talking about Savoy. When he brings up the honor code of, in the words of Parks and Rec, deuteruses before uteruses, the concept of stealing a friend's lady, she replies simply but earnestly in one of the sexiest statements in the whole book so far, I think, Scad. Kvothe, steal me.
Yeah.
And so he does. She chafes at the fact that every other man always gives her roses. Roses! What's so great about them? Why do they remind men of her and other women, for that matter? She then presents him with a test. What kind of flower would Kvothe say best represents her? Kvothe puts a lot of thought into it, like pages of thought into it. He jumps from dandelions to nightshade to nettle to wild oat to daisies to thistle and so on, until finally he comes into it, the Celis flower. Silas? I don't know. He says it's a deep red flower that grows on a strong vine. Its leaves are dark and delicate. They grow best in shadowy places. But the flower itself finds stray sunbeams to bloom in. That suits you, Kvothe says to Denna. There is much of you that is both shadow and light. It grows in deep forests. It is rare because only skilled folk can tend one without harming it. It has a wondrous smell and is much sought and seldom found. Yes, since I am forced to pick, Kvothe says, I would choose Selas. That's nice, but wrong. She says daisies, simple and sweet. That's the way to her heart. But for Kvothe, she says he's a willow blossom. He hadn't even heard of willows having blossoms. She says, you remind me of a willow, strong, deep-rooted, and hidden. You move easily when the storm comes, but never farther than you wish. And she does say the willow moves to the wind's desire. Whew. Hours pass with conversations like this, 5 hours to be exact, and they pass as if it was just a moment to Kvothe. But in the end, the doorstep scene in front of the inn where she was staying, right? Our little coming of age story, got to have a doorstep scene. Kvothe has just had the most incredible evening, but he has, and all 15 years old of him, has no idea what to do now. Does he kiss her? Does he hold her? Does he say something romantic? Homeboy errs on the side of caution. He makes his goodbyes, and she goes inside. The door shuts. Kvothe is elated, though. What a night. Until he's not elated. The doubt sets in. Why the F hadn't he kissed her? Why did he say all that ridiculous stuff? He talked so much. Oh my gosh. But at the same time, he should have been bolder. Like, he should, but maybe he should have been more cautious. Like, what if he moved too? Oh no, he should have. Oh no. But Scad, she'd smiled. She laughed. That's the end of the chapter.
She literally said, steal me.
Yep.
Yeah. That relatable post-date feeling. Pat writes it so well. I mean, you feel like you're, I don't know, I felt like I'm just back there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
17, 18 years old, having these exact same feelings, which, happened only a handful of times for me. But man, yeah, just the wave of emotions and possibilities even after what seemed like a really perfect night. You're still unsure and uncertain, and did I say the wrong thing? And probably she was just being polite. They were just being polite. He writes it so well. I mean, it just takes you right back there.
It's delightful. You just feel for him.
How were you on those doorstep scenes, Matt?
Oh man, it brought me back to one in particular where I was on a date. I was 16. I remember I drove, so I must have been 16 or 17. And the girl that she was, I couldn't believe she actually agreed to go on a date with me. And she was beautiful, very popular in school and stuff.
Yeah.
And the date went quite well. And it ended just like this. Doorstep.
Yep.
I had no idea what to say. And as soon as I got in the car, it was immediately apparent to me that I could have kissed her. It would have gone all right. Like,
well, who knows how it would have gone?
And the regret.
That kiss is always, you never know how they go.
That's true. That's true.
But you could have done it without being slapped, at least. Yeah.
Correct. I believe that. Yeah, that would have been acceptable to her. And I mean, it doesn't matter now. But
so what did anything
16,
happen later?
17-year-old me driving home was just like,
yeah,
just killing myself. We remained friends. We remained good friends through the rest of high school, but nothing ever went beyond that.
Nothing ever went again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Were you more bold than me?
I don't know where it comes from, but I get it takes me some time to work up to it. So if there's a clock going, I might not get there. But yeah, I think I kind of do tend to. I remember one time I was flirting with this girl. I mean, we'd been flirting for a long time and even made out a couple times. So I guess no, we hadn't made it. No, because no, we definitely hadn't. We've been flirting for a long time though.
Nice.
It was very apparent that she was interested, but we never had gone on a date, never fooled around, we never done anything. And I remember that because the way this came about is that we actually made a bet. She had never been kissed, actually. And we made a bet. She was going on a date with a friend of mine, and I was like, you're not going to kiss him. If you kiss him, I'll go out with this other girl that you think that I like. I'll take her on a date. If you don't, though, I'm going to kiss you. That was the deal. I'm going to do it,
Yeah,
right? Like I was bold with this bet. She goes on this date with this friend of mine, lies about it, and claims to have kissed him. Makes me go on the date with this other girl,
I
who's a
love her.
fantastic girl, wonderful person. Uh, pretty. She was shy. Let's just say she was shy. This other girl. So I go on the date or whatever. She's angry that I go on a date with this other girl. Apparently, talking about it later, I remember clear as day under one of my parents' trees at my parents' house, and we're talking about the fact that she lied to me about it, and I just kissed her right there. I was like, well, okay, and I just did it. I'm
And it
sure it was a
was,
little more awkward than that. Like I'm an unreliable narrator in this case too,
yeah,
but and that it went okay.
my man,
It went okay.
my man. And it sounds
Yeah,
like things continued in maybe an uncertain state, but
yeah.
beneficial.
We were together for a little
You
while.
date, yeah, you officially dated. Yeah.
Yeah, for a little
Were
while.
you in high school?
This was it was like the very end of high school. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Um, into summer.
Right.
Yeah,
The summer after senior year.
yeah.
That's a great time to have those relationships because you're going to go out to college anyways. Like,
Right.
not a lot of
Yep.
strings attached. Yeah.
Yep.
As long as there's a mutual understanding between the two of you that that's what's going to happen. No
Yeah.
harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's yep. Sure.
Those were the days, buddy.
uh, anyway, yeah, I
Uh,
think I'm more bold than I think I am
yeah.
sometimes.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, so let's just have it out. So if Quoth had gone for it, let's say he had just said, Denna, would you just stay with me? We'll make this crazy world make sense together. We'll, just we'll stick together. Would she
Yeah.
have done it? Is he right to be so careful with her in every way?
I don't think you would. I don't think she would have done it, man. What we're
Not
seeing, and
enough.
this is taking into account what we're going to see in the next couple chapters with her,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I don't think she would have done it, man. I think he
Yeah.
would. I think it would have made his fall that much harder.
Yeah.
So why I'm like, dude, just do it, man. Go for it, Kvothe. You got this. You got this, buddy. At the same time, he made the prudent choice, even if he didn't know he did. Because I don't
Yeah.
think she would have stuck around. What about you?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Dennis hard to figure out for me. Steal me implies that she wants that. That's more than just flirtation. That feels like she wants it to be almost like an ongoing permanent thing. This is not
I
like
hear you.
a night,
I hear you.
but at the same time, everything she's shown is that she's not about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We see that this thing with Savoy is obviously not interesting to her anymore. And
yeah,
whether rumors are true, there's rumors circulating about her
yeah,
and being kind of flighty and not wanting to settle down with any one guy, which is completely her prerogative.
yeah.
But yeah, if Kvothe throws all his eggs in that basket, that could
It's yeah, yeah.
make the fall that much harder.
And it's it's too early for a statement as grand as I said, right? Like, let's forget about the world and just be together. That's too far. But if he
You are
tried
a
to
bold
make
man,
something of it,
Scaddy.
well, yeah, yeah. Let's not get too crazy about that. I'm still me, you know. Um, I don't know. I read this chapter and there's so much going on between them. The flower, like he's so careful, and the analysis that he gives should show her that he knows her a lot better
Right.
than
Yeah.
she probably thinks, and that he's very considerate about it, and that's probably why she likes him. But it's even with things like Steal Me, even with that, I have to keep in mind like maybe he just makes her feel comfortable. There's a song in Six, the musical, which the Song of Ice and Fire musical Queens was based on,
Mm.
in which one of the characters is a really tragic song. It kind of sounds flighty and fun, but it's not. It's very sad.
Mm.
She's kind of goes through her life from being a young girl into adulthood, kind of always looking for just a seems like a friend, somebody to talk to and just relate to, and they always end up wanting to get in her pants. Every single like 3 or 4 times in a row, always.
Yeah.
And maybe a small part of me is like, maybe Denna just she feels safe and comfortable with him, and she never feels safe and comfortable. And so, yeah, 6 hours walking, if I feel safe while I'm doing it, yeah. If I got to lead the guy on and say, steal me to keep him coming, I don't know, man. My heart breaks for her if that's the case, right?
Sure.
And maybe it's worth it. It's
Sure.
only a small part of me that feels that way about
Yeah.
this, but it's in there.
I wonder what she felt walking into that inn at the end of the night.
Yeah.
She was like, that idiot.
Maybe.
Like,
We don't know.
how much harder do I have to try?
Yeah.
What more do I have to put out there to show him that he could?
Yeah. Yeah. I love her sass though.
Oh,
The when he's giving all the flowers and she's like, or he's stalling to give her a flower, and she's like, it seems like you're trying to think that I've forgotten the question. I haven't. Pick a flower.
yeah. Judging by her personality, she'd walk into the house and be like, all right, his loss.
Yeah. 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 She's a fascinating character.
She is. Yep. The exchange reminded me of Parks and Rec. Remember that episode when they are looking at pictures of dogs and assigning them to different characters in the office? Like Ron is like a bulldog,
Uh-huh.
and Crazy Craig. It's later in this series because it's got
Oh
Craig.
yeah. Yeah.
Is like a crazy like Chihuahua type dog, like
Uh-huh.
like a really scrappy yelly dog.
Yeah.
And then
He's the
Donna,
loud guy, right? Like the really loud,
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
This is my friend Donna. She brought
Yeah.
me here.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
He's
That guy's
great.
famous now. I
Yeah,
always
he's
forget his
awesome.
name, but he's yeah.
Um, and they're trying to figure out what Donna would be, Donna Meagle.
Uh-huh.
April like does a really surface level, like you're a poodle because you like
Uh-huh.
nice things and da 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 da. And Donna gets like gives her the silent treatment and gets really offended and
Mm-hmm.
upset with
You
her
didn't even
and
try.
causes April to like really like think hard about it. And April
Uh-huh.
spends like hours, maybe like a day agonizing over it.
Uh-huh.
And I think where does she finally land? I think she lands on like, you're not a dog at all, you're a cat because of these reasons.
Oh.
And then Donna instantly gives like a big smile and gives her a hug. And
But it was
because
just about the effort.
Donna wanted to be seen for who she really
Yes.
was, not the
Yes.
fact that she likes nice things and takes care of
Yes.
herself. And da, 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 da.
Yes.
So
Good. Good pull.
I think Dana, she appreciated that, like you said. I think it added to her feeling safe and seen, and that's
Yeah.
important.
Well, away from that chemistry to a little bit of a different kind of chemistry. Uh this bone tar, is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah.
The new thing in the giant vat in the fishery. It's interesting. I did a little research on it.
Mm,
First of all, this is a clear Chekhov's gun, right? Something's going to happen with
sure.
this.
I almost left it out, just like Viala in the previous chapter, but because he wanted to use it as a money-making device
Yeah, you put
later,
it
I
in.
kept it in. Yeah.
Well, it's clear it's going to be used somehow.
I mean,
Put
they
it there.
spend 2 pages talking about it. Yep.
Now, I'm not a scientist, uh, but I do have it on good authority from a single Reddit source, the one that I
Ooh,
found,
very good.
that I consulted. Gases, despite what Kilvin says about this material, gases generally do not have surface tension at any sort of normal temperature or conditions. So this gas is weird. It
Totally.
doesn't behave like any gases we know in our world.
Yeah.
It has
Mhm.
surface tension, which gas does not have, according to this Reddit source. I'd love to be proved wrong. If any of you scientists out there want to weigh in, please do. Viscosity, though, is a relative term. He also says it has viscosity. Gases can be viscous with viscosity increasing as temperature increases, usually. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
Little science, just a little science,
Hmm.
real quick.
Okay. Doesn't help me understand it any better.
No, no.
But I do come away with a greater appreciation for Rothfuss's imagination. So,
Yeah. I think of it like I think he even says this a little bit in there. I think of it like a floating ball of mercury, but gas.
yeah, but gassy.
Like it'll kind of
Yeah.
stick together unless you like separate it.
Uh-huh.
That's the surface tension part, right?
Yeah. But then it instantly ignites, right?
It can if you interact with it certain ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got anything more here?
I don't. Fun chapter.
I'll ask just one more personal question. Have you ever had this like Kvothe does with Denna and just like basically ups and leaves his job? Have you ever had this with someone where you'll set whatever aside for them? Just
Definitely.
yeah, as a
Definitely.
youth or now or
Well, I do anything for my wife now, for sure.
yeah.
But I've I remember when Padme and we just gotten engaged actually, but she was going back to Idaho over Christmas and to be with her family, and I was staying with my family for Christmas. And I decided on Christmas Day, I just had to see her. Just had to
Uh-huh.
see her.
Yeah.
Got up, opened presents, spent a little bit of time with my family, got in my car and
Just
drove to
went.
Idaho and just went to
Wow.
Idaho. You know,
Did you tell her you
missed
were
the
going?
rest of the family festivities. Yeah, I did. But
Okay.
my wife and I were just
It's
actually
good.
watching the Beckham documentary. Have you watched that yet on Netflix?
No. No.
It's it's got a lot of talk about it. And so when something's like really fatty, I'm usually like,
Victoria Beckham, you mean, right?
yeah, and
Oh.
David in particular. Yes. Victoria plays prominently. And you know how I feel about the Spice Girls. So
I do know.
I was
That's
pleased
why
to
I kind of made the joke.
watch it. But he talks about how he would drive 4 hours to see her for 20 minutes and then turn
Wow.
around and drive back, you know,
Wow.
and his teammates and his his coach. What do they call coaches? And that they call him something different.
Trainer,
Yeah,
manager.
trainer. Yeah, they was pissed at him because he was always leaving the team and stuff like that. But he's
Yeah.
David Beckham at the same time. So,
Yeah.
but he would drive 4 hours, see her for 20 minutes, and then have to turn around and drive back. But he
Wow.
did it, man.
It's,
'Cause that's what you do.
it's a big investment.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I shirk responsibility very well.
Mm-hmm.
Not well.
But have you ever just been like
I'm
impulsive at the
better
same
at it.
time
I'm
too?
better at it now.
At shirking responsibility?
Getting pretty good at it now. We'll leave it at that.
Oh,
But
I'm proud of you, buddy. Good job.
uh I don't know. I don't remember being that way
Mm,
where I just drop everything for somebody.
yeah,
Like I got this stuff to do, like I
that's
can't just
probably smart.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it I wrote down this. I don't even know if I meant it this way at the time, but both invests in people, right? Like I think that's what's most important to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
And so like the job is like, well, Anchor fires me over it. Like I hate to let Anchor down. He's another person, but this person is what matters, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And his friendship with with Will and Sim, he wouldn't bring up the debt with them and try to let them loan him money because the people are what matter to him, right? More than the
Yeah.
money or the job or any of it.
That's fascinating. I'm glad you said that because in turn, it's almost like his investment in people endears him to them too, right? And we've
Hmm.
talked about Will and Sim and the investment they've made in
Yes.
him,
Yep.
and even Anchor being like, "Okay, I get it, kid. You're
Yeah.
going after a girl. Go for it,
Yeah.
but you owe me."
Like I said, true hero.
Yeah, yeah.
Anchor.
What a wingman.
Anchor. Yeah.
Go to her.
How old do you think that guy is? What do you got in your head?
I'm probably thinking early 60s.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking like early 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, 50s, 60s. Not like elderly necessarily,
Yeah.
but grizzled and
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
around the block quite a few
Yeah.
times.
Right.
Yeah,
Not not intimidated by the world.
old enough to not care. Yeah.
You got anything else for this chapter?
No.
All right. Well, let's do the next one.
Let's go to a
Walking and
rare short
talking.
chapter in this block.
Yes. Yes. We only have four what, five chapters in this block instead of the usual six. Walking and talking. Coming back to Earth from his date, in quotes, Kvothe meets his friends for lunch, only to realize that his walk with Denna made him forget his plans with them. Oh, crushes ruin everything. But when he tells them where he was, walking with the girl he hasn't been pursuing, again in quotes, he is immediately forgiven for all the time spent, but chastised for his lack of skill and knowledge about women. To avoid more abuse, Kvothe agrees to tell them the whole story. Even after giving his version of events, though, his friends come to the conclusion that he is scared. And he admits it. He's terrified and excited and wants to go find her again right now. But what is he to do? Both changes the subject to move on. He's doing this project to gain admission to the artificery. Let's focus on that. He doesn't want to do a simple sympathy lamp like everyone else does. Of course he doesn't. While the artificery talk is a good diversion, Simon will advise him to just build a sympathy lamp and come quickly back to the previous topic. If you like a girl, you have to tell her, Sim says. And that's the end of the chapter. Not a whole lot going on here
Oh,
of
but
import.
you got some great Billy Joel going on right there. Tell her about it.
Oh, there we go.
Let her know
Yes.
how much you care. When you can't be with her, tell her you wish you were
We're
there.
there. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Will. He's just singing Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Back when Billy Joel had hair and wore sunglasses. Tell her about it every day before you leave. That's a great song. Great Billy
It
Joel
is a
song.
good song. And
Yep,
it has a good message,
it
unlike
does.
some of his songs.
Be
A lot of them
bold.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
Who's your favorite?
communicative. Huh?
Yeah. Not unlike your favorite,
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack.
It's not a great message. No, it's just forget the world and drink for a little while. Forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I
That's Captain
remember I
Jack.
remember when Chewie asked me who Captain Jack was. Like Captain Jack Sparrow? No.
No, not
No.
not exactly. Let's call him
No.
Captain Jim.
Yeah.
No.
Can't do that.
Can't. Captain Johnny. No. Nope.
I just told him. It's
Yeah.
alcohol, buddy. Um, great song. Chewy, by the way, this is a complete aside. Just had
Yeah.
his fifth grade maturation program this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. For
Interesting.
those of you who may not know what that is, that's a thing. Maybe they do it in other states too, but it is something that is done in Utah, where the boys have a special little class at school, and
The girls do too.
the girls do as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like we were together, boys and girls together, when I did it as a kid. I don't
We did
remember.
it at the same time, but in separate classes, like
Separate class.
separate rooms
Yeah,
and
they
stuff.
were separated. It was just with the boys, and you learn about your changing bodies.
Yeah,
It's
you
quite
do.
fascinating. Yeah.
Mary was in fifth grade last year, and we expected to have that, but they didn't do it. And
Really?
we called, yeah, and we called, and we're like, when we realized that they didn't do it, we're like, did they just skip? Because you get, questions about deodorant and, we're like, they usually cover this. Where is that thing that they usually have here? And we called and they're like, yeah, the parents wanted to get rid of it. We took it away from the program.
No
But then
way.
this year we got notification that they're having it this year. So it's like they just
That
skipped a
one
couple.
year. So
Yeah, I
there's a
don't know.
whole grade of just stinky kids, stinky boys
I mean, it's possible.
who are
Yeah.
having wet dreams and have no idea what to do
And no
about them.
idea what's happening. No clue.
Oh, Chewie's face when they were talking about those. He was just like, I just
Huh?
patted him on the shoulder. I'm like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Don't worry, Ben.
Anyway, you were telling a story about it.
No, that was about it. I just,
No, no,
it made me think of
okay.
that. But
Okay.
what were we
Uh,
talking about that even got me thinking about that?
I don't know. Tell her about it.
Tell her about, I
Captain
don't know.
Jack.
Oh, we were talking about Captain Jack and Chewie asking the question, and then I started thinking,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And we've talked about a few more questions this week. So,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
In response to not having that class, we actually bought a book about like boys changing bodies and stuff.
Okay.
And it sits there and no one ever looks at it. When there are questions, he can consult us and the book.
Scad reaches over to the bookshelf, pulls it up. That's
I
off
don't
the
know, man.
spine
Read
there.
this. Get out of my face. No.
Figure it out.
Uh,
Uh, yeah, I mean,
I don't have much for this chapter.
no,
Uh, he reveals that they're together for 6 hours. It's a long time.
it's a really long time.
I got a weird one. At the very opening of this chapter, he talks about being over on the other side of the river and picking up some quicksilver and sea salt. Just
Yeah,
dropped in. Nothing. I have no idea
you
what
know,
that would be about.
in
Maybe
case
just materials for the fishery, maybe
maybe he wants to make sea salt pretzels. I don't know.
with quicksilver. It'd be deadly.
Yeah, common combination. We get the one of those little like charming comedy bit little lines in this chapter. While shopping in Imri for those things, I had also, quite by coincidence, wandered past the inn where Denna was staying. But she hadn't been there, or at the Olean, or in the
Mm-hmm.
park.
Yep. Yep.
It's just cute.
Yes. Yeah. He
Quite by coincidence. Oh, and I passed by these other places just quite by coincidence as well. And she wasn't at none of those, just by the way. So,
yes, I think that's actually at the top of the next chapter.
oh, did
Nine
I
in the
miss it?
Fire.
Okay.
That's
All
okay.
right.
It's okay. The
We're
theme is
getting
the
there, anyways.
same, though. The theme is the same. He says in this chapter, he's like, I want to go see her right now. So, like, the spirit of what you're talking about is in this chapter. He wants to be with her now, like always.
And that's
It's
sweet.
yeah, it's like a drug. He's addicted to Denna.
Oh yeah, it's different. It is a little different. Yeah, in the start of 64. So that is in 63 somewhere.
Oh, it's in 63 too?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just worded differently,
okay.
right?
Put it in my notes, but
Yep,
believe
it's
you.
different. Yep.
So he's
Because
looking then too.
I
Always
copied
looking.
it. I copied it verbatim out of the book. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he says it again in 64, though. You're right at the top. Yep.
Well, let's jump to 64 unless you've got more for 63.
No,
I
that's
don't.
fine. Yep. 9 in the fire.
Nine in the Fire. Kvothe looks for Denna. He looks really hard at all the haunts for days in a row, and he can't find her. She seems to be gone. Desaparecido. Like that. She was gone. But while these days have passed, Kvothe has also finished his project to advance the artificery. Though Kilvin admits that the project he's done is more advanced than most of those sympathy lamps he gets for approval, as he tests it out, Kilvin is a little worried. Kvothe has built a lamp that is good for thievery, for spelunking, for secrecy, and this is not what the Arcanum wants to be known for. In fact, if it falls into the wrong hands, the Arcanum would be blamed for it. Further, he accurately accuses Kvothe of trying to build something special for pride, to separate himself from the other apprentices. For his part, Kvothe admits the fault, but owns it. He is faster, he is better, and he wanted to be recognized for it. Kilvin gives Kvothe a little bit of encouragement, indicating that he knows Kvothe to be advanced, that he appreciates the design and the inventiveness of this lamp, but he can't sell it. Lamps like this find their way into the wrong hands. Kvothe was counting on this lamp selling and on the money from that sale, but he would have to do without. Upon receiving the news, Manet, who he was the apprentice under, gives him a well-earned "I told you so," and offering him some advice on what to work on next. Kvothe submits and agrees to fall in line and build some simple, high-earning blue emitters. But he also prods Manet a little bit more, asking if he knows a secret way into the archives. Manet declines to give him the answer, but does not dispute that there is one, instead encouraging patience for Kvothe to earn his way back in the right way. Kvothe, you are young, be patient, you can afford to wait, that kind of thing. But what Kvothe took from the conversation, there's a way in, and I can find it. On his way out, Kvothe stops by Kilvin's office and convinces him to give the thieves' lamp back rather than smelting it down for parts, so long as Kvothe agrees to not ever let it fall into anyone else's hands. Kilvin agrees to give it back to him. Of course not. Kvothe plans to use it simply for a reading lamp in place of candles that he's still spending money on. Sure, Kvothe, sure. Now Kvothe knew there was both a way into the archives, and he had a nice little light to help him find it. And that's the end of the chapter. This little light of mine, Matt.
I'm gonna let it shine. Nice.
In the little dark pathways to find a way into the Arcanum, or into the library,
Mm-hmm.
the archives.
Yep.
They Gilwin specifically mentions pride, which we've talked about as something that Kvothe needs to get a handle on.
We've
talked about it before, that it's part of kind of a defense mechanism for Kvothe, right? You mentioned that kind of earlier in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like he kind of has let this part go mostly as coat. Do you agree with that? Pride stuff?
At least the outward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still
I think
there,
there's still some embedded pride.
Him.
Yeah, you see it a little bit in the way he tells the stories and some of these interludes. It feels like you get glimpses of it.
True.
But he's definitely able to contain it. Yeah. Your greater judgment is still somewhat in question, Kilvin says to him. Due, of course, to the pride. Yeah.
Also, though, again, like he's 15.
For sure.
Like, of course his greater judgment is in question.
Yeah.
That's every 15-year-old.
Yep. But with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you, Uncle Ben. And he wants to be seen as an authority figure. You know, he wants to put together the better lamp and be recognized as awesome because of that pride. And so, dude, if you want to be seen as the big guns, you got to be able to take it when they judge you up to that standard, right?
Yeah.
You got Kilvin stressing patience. You've got Manet stressing patience. You've got Master Lauren stressing patience.
Yep.
I think it's now 2 episodes ago you had Master Eladin calling into question Kvothe's judgment, at least.
Yes.
Like Kilvin does here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the mentors are there.
You gotta take the advice, though. If you just don't listen to them, they can't mentor you.
Right.
Yeah. It's similar to George a little bit, you know, with the others and how he lets us kind of forget the others, you know, and lets us just focus on the human struggle a little bit. It's kind of we've lost that thread a little bit with the Chandrian. It's been a long time since it's been a focus, right?
Yeah,
we've been dealing with debts and money and music and love and all these other things, but in the back of Kvothe's mind is still the Chandrian, right? And that's, at least, I think it's part of his character flaws as well, his lack of patience, but it's really just that this is driving him.
It's an urgency. Yeah.
There's an urgency to him with this Chandrian stuff that, you know, it's this internal drive that he has, despite all the day-to-day minutia that distracts us, it's still back there driving him. And it's good the way Pat kind of reminds us of that with these little moments of him, really trying to break all the rules to get into the archives and things like that. And similar to George, how he kind of just every once in a while will just pull the little lever and make you remember that the others are still out there.
Yeah. And Kvothe has become, because of what he's learned specifically from Abinthy, he is able to compartmentalize that that memory of the Chandrian and that urgency. He is able to kind of put it in a box and put it away in order to focus on paying his debts and getting his job and doing all these things. But at the same time, he's able to draw it. It's always constantly in the back of his mind, pushing him forward. He's a fascinating kid.
He is. Yeah. He's able to, how do I put it? Let this consume him without letting it consume him. It is his motivating factor underneath everything, but he doesn't let it percolate to the top in such a way that he can't live.
Right. Yeah.
He can't focus on the things that are like in his face and important.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I wouldn't be talking about this so much if I hadn't just watched this Beckham documentary like an hour before we recorded. But
when you say Beckham documentary, you're talking about Spice World?
I'm talking about Victoria Beckham, Posh Spice. They were talking about where Padme and I left off was at the beginning of David and Victoria's relationship. So it's fresh on my mind. But, in the same sentence where they're talking about where he'd drive 4 hours, see her for 20 and come back, one of his former teammates, I can't remember the name of the player, he would talk about how David Beckham had this incredible ability, though, to, no matter the paparazzi that was following, no matter what was going on, how many papers he was in, and all the star hubbub and everything, and living in this crazy world he was thrust into once he started dating a super pop star like her. He said that he could come into the locker room and he could just instantly get into football mode, Like he was able to just turn it off completely,
like a switch,
leave it all out there. And he had this incredible ability to flip a switch. And I'm on football now. And, we know the legend of David Beckham. He'd go out there and do whatever he wanted,
run half as much as everyone else and score free kick goals.
Yes. Wayne Gretzky, baby. Same thing.
I think not everyone can do that, right?
Right.
I don't know whether you can teach yourself to be better at that, but some people just kind of seem to be able to do it. Turn that off, go do this thing. They don't take work home with them, they don't take home to work. Did you ever see Severance?
I heard I need to. I haven't watched it.
With Adam Scott.
Right. Yeah.
I started it and then Eowyn made me stop. She's like, this looks good. So I never got back to it. But the whole premise of that, they show it in the first episode. It's not really a spoiler. The whole premise of that is there's a company that allows you to sever yourself from like your mind kind of in two ways. You have a work life and a home life, and you don't know anything about the other one. The guy from home comes to work, checks in, passes through some barrier, and he's a work guy, and he has no idea what happened for the last 12 hours.
Dang.
Work guy leaves, passes through that barrier, some magic, right? Home guy has no idea what he did at work.
Right.
So they don't take it home. They have no sort of relationships that cross barriers.
Dang.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But I had to stop, so I don't know where it went.
What a guy.
Anyway.
What a guy.
If it were easy for humans to do, Severance, the show, wouldn't exist, I guess is my point. Not everyone can just do that like Beckham. It's hard. Right. Our minds drift, man.
Sometimes you can bend it like him, but not everyone can turn it off like him. Or turn it on, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I'm usually turned on by Beckham.
It's pretty easily. Yeah, it's pretty easily done. I mean,
Uh,
she's great. I was more into Baby Spice, but Posh was cute.
I was actually talking about David, but
Oh,
uh,
oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, gotcha.
you know,
Yeah,
uh, or Parminder Nagra, who is in the film Bend It Like Beckham,
she's
who
cute.
I had a
Yeah,
crush on for some time.
she's super cute.
Oh, we've had a lot of side discussions.
This has been
Very
great.
good.
Yeah,
What do you got for this chapter?
that's
We
it.
talked about pride. Hilvin doing a six-way binding with like no effort is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's passed over kind of quickly in the chapter.
yeah, but Kvothe notes it. He's like, that's amazing. He just did it with barely a thought,
Right.
right? They controlled all these things in the room at once. The six-way binding. I mean, usually we hear about like one, two, or three,
Correct.
but Kilvin just does six without thinking about it.
Right. That kind of puts into context the title of master
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what that means, what that really means. Yeah.
yeah. And it's mentioned that Manet says they're conservative, right? And I think you kind of, if you put those things together, you can kind of see why, right? It's like there's so much power in there that, like, to get to that level, you have to be a careful human, or you blow stuff up, right? Like, you have so much power,
Good point.
if you're not conservative and careful, things go sideways quick.
Yeah. Good point.
I don't have much else. Shall we move on to Devi After Dark?
Let's do it, baby.
All right.
Devi After Dark.
This is, I would say, I feel like the last couple have been light on Devi After Dark material.
Mm-hmm.
Not a ton here. I'm interested in talking Viari a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about Viari a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Does he know anything? Is he that potential source of knowledge that Kvothe thinks he could be? Why would he be introduced so out of story-ish? Right?
yeah, yeah, and he could have introduced him anywhere. He introduced him right before Kvothe was going in to see Lauren. Viari, of course, is Lauren's killer, so that makes sense that that's where you'd see him anyway. But I wonder if it's meaningful to kind of link the two together. And there are theories, out there that, well, various theories about Lauren and Viari, but that Lauren is actually sending his Gillers out to get books about the Ammer so that he can hide them or destroy them and, get rid of them, right? Or so that he can hide them and maintain them to make sure they're not destroyed,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Keep him
don't
under
really
his
know,
nose. Mm-hmm.
but there are people that think Viari himself is an Ammer, is one of the Amir, right? And that
Fascinating.
and it would be somewhat, I don't know, poetic, or I don't know the phrase, poetic, if all this time Quoth is looking for the Amir and the Chandrian and clues, and he lets this guy just like walk past him
And he
and
let
doesn't.
one walk.
It just didn't. It was right under his nose, right?
Right. Yeah. Because he was so caught up in the mundane day to day.
Yeah, yeah. So he didn't. It was too suppressed in that case,
Mm-hmm.
right? He needed
Mm-hmm.
it to percolate to the top and be like, wait a minute, this smells funny.
Yep.
Who is this guy? Like, he knows
Sniff
stuff.
this out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in his defense, like, Quoth meets people from all over the place at the university. So maybe meeting Viari wasn't that different. He seems
Right.
very different to us as readers.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know.
anyway,
I don't
I
know.
kind of, I kind of, I know I said I kind of like Lauren and maybe he's not a bad guy. I kind of think he's part of the Ammer and a bad guy.
Really?
Kind of, maybe. I kind of think all of that history stuff, like, they're all bad. They've all got the wrong idea, right? And maybe Kvothe is, when he comes to fight that, he's fighting against all of them, kind of. The Ammer are meant to
Yeah.
protect from the Chandrian.
Correct.
But how do they do it?
Yeah, we detect some
Well, it's been thousands of years and the
potential.
Chandrian are still around. So, like, are
And the
they
Ymir
really
aren't.
doing that job, or did they become corrupt and they're really about other things now? Like the Grand Maester conspiracy theory kind of thing in A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, maybe they just found the power and decided they liked it, and so they keep the Chandrian at bay, but they just kind of rule this secret
They
society kind
also
of thing.
keep themselves at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, like the
So
Illuminati or something.
what do you have any? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you have any theories or to stretch this idea of Lauren maybe not being the best guy, what his intentions are with Kvothe?
Well, you said earlier, by keeping out of the library and always rate, the tuition's going up, can't get in the archives to study. Um, is he maybe just trying to? I think he's trying to do it subtle. If he's doing it at all, I think he's
Sure.
trying to do it subtly. Just kind of slide Kvothe's interest away from anything going on with this, right?
Sure.
As
Okay.
part of the bigger desire to just kind of hide all this information away.
Uh-huh.
And if he's really a bad guy, he becomes, I don't know what villain to compare him to, but like in a movie, that villain that seems like he's kind of okay, but then when he realizes the slow play game that he's doing isn't going to work, he gets nasty,
Sure.
right? Like he could have him killed. He could have VRA just slit his throat someday if he
Yeah.
thinks the easy way isn't going well, right?
Yeah. Because isn't it clear back at the beginning of the university, Lauren helps him like if you want to find good information, you need to do it this way, right?
He says he
Mm,
just
he does kind of try to steer him away from Chandrian stuff, though, right? That's how
he
he
says
does it.
it will be seen as childish if anyone
Yeah,
dared to do
yeah,
it.
he does. That's how he does it. Yep,
But
that fits.
that's he should have known that wouldn't be enough to dissuade him, really.
Sure, but if he is playing like you said, a slow game,
But if he didn't care either way, why? What does he care? What people think of Kvothe? Why pull Kvothe aside and be like, people are going to think you're silly if you're looking at this
right?
topic? He saw Chandrian on the freaking ledger, and he's like, okay, I got to do something. We don't want people looking into this,
Correct.
right? Because what
Yep.
is he? I mean, we've seen that Lauren doesn't really care about individual students. It seems that way, right? Like,
Yeah, unless he sees something. I mean, if we go completely to the other end of the spectrum,
yeah,
Lauren feels like Kvothe is the second coming of Christ. He
mm-hmm.
is the next big deal, and he
Mm-hmm.
needs to, nurture this
Lift him
kid.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in his own way, a Team John. If we go back to our oldest Song of Ice and Fire stuff, in some
Mm-hmm.
way, um,
So
what
this
we
archive
know
thing
of
is just
Lauren,
tough love, then.
this tough. What we see of Lauren, I don't know that that's likely though. I don't know. It's compelling, buddy. What you're saying, it's compelling.
I mean, I feel like I should have spent more time looking at all the kind of ideas that are already out
Yeah,
there because mine are very thin. And until I finish A Wise Man's Fear again, it's been a few years. I feel like my thoughts are a bit stretched.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll take a deeper look next time. Um, Ambrose stuff, real quick. We don't need to spend a bunch of time on it, but there's theories about it. So Ambrose, we've heard Sim give the line of succession, right, for being king of Ventus, and Ambrose's dad is like 12th in line or something. There are theories that like the Jackus family is slowly whittling away those heirs so that
Mm,
they can become king, and that the king that he kills actually is Ambrose or his father, right? I kind of like the idea that it's his father. And remember at the very beginning of the story, one of the guys is talking about taking the king's coin to go fight in the war, and
mhm.
Kvothe is like really against it, and he's like, "Don't go fight in the King's War. Like if Ambrose is king, like that may all of a sudden becomes like this
It's
personal
like, yeah,
thing,
dude, you don't
right?
want to do that. Trust me, you don't want to do that.
Don't fight for that guy.
Okay,
Cheese
okay.
dick.
Uh-huh.
Um, theories that Ambrose and his father are behind a pirate attack that almost kills Kvothe in Wise Man's Fear coming up.
Mm.
Um, and other people think it's just, he's just a rich kid.
Freaking Kvothe. Just walk away, buddy. Just walk away,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. uh, there's one in Jackass. There's a thing where he's talking to Lauren in the library, and he says that he reminded him of the Doctor and some of the plays that he used to do, and the appearance of the Doctor always implies catastrophe in the next act.
Right.
Says.
Yep.
And we get that very soon coming up.
Yeah,
Things are going swimmingly with Denna, and the Bone Tar catastrophe occurs. Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, yes, as we're getting two events in the book, but even in the coming chapters, things start to he struggles a little bit, and it's funny.
He does.
That,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else you got?
Okay. This lamp.
Mm-hmm.
The lamp is going to be a thing, right?
Yeah. So he's going to use it himself to sneak into the archives. That happens later in this book, I think. Mixing up my timeline, I think it's in this book. He also uses it in book 2 in his. Is it in book 2? Yeah, in book 2 in his fight with Ambrose, that happens. But I think this is going to come back to bite him.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it'll be a big enough thing to get him expelled away from the university. We know he gets basically like kicked out, right? At some point from the university. I thought maybe it would come back and kill him and be like, I told you, like you're out. I told you if anybody ever came to me with this, you were going to be in trouble. You're out.
Right.
But it doesn't feel big enough. Like Kvothe would just be like, yeah, it was on my desk and someone stole it from me. Like, sorry. It doesn't feel like they kick him out for that. Sorry.
It's like my daughter. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that you misunderstand the situation. Those are the best. The apologies that accuse you of being wrong.
Yep. Leia is 14, Khalasar. And she's a charming, beautiful young lady. And she is also a pain. Sorry. Just say it just like that. Sorry.
Sorry. She keeps giving you that sass, huh?
Oh, she's sassy. Yeah. I wouldn't want her any other way.
Of course.
A thought entered my head that Kilvin is so perceptive. He's such a good judge of character.
Yeah.
He's also very pragmatic. He's also very much like not like if he decides he's going to do something, that's just the way it's going to be, and no one can sway him from that. And I felt like he was very just generous in like giving Kvothe his lamp back. He outlined all the reasons why he shouldn't have it. And then he's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can have it. Like, here you go. He says if the lamp is lost, it would eventually end up in the wrong hands and be used for skulking about in the dark, doing dishonest things. And I put in our notes, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I don't know why he would be doing that, but it just felt very leading. And then Kvothe's response to him, I give you my word, Master Kilvin, no one will be using it but me. And I can almost just see them both like tapping the sides of their noses,
Yes. Yes.
And
exactly.
Him backing out of the room slowly with the lamp as Master Kilvin watches him.
What you don't know, Kilvin, is better off that you don't know.
And I wondered if there was like some tacit approval for whatever Kvothe was going to do. while also some
Funny.
plausible deniability, so that if he does get in trouble, he could, like you said, say, "I told you, I told
Yeah.
you."
You're right. It almost given the risk and how dire he seems to paint it, if it were to get into the wrong hands, it doesn't seem like he should have given it back. And so the
It
fact that he
feels a little out of
does,
character for Kilvin, what we know of him so far.
and the fact that he does supports your point that he's like, okay, use it. Right?
Skulking about, doing
Mm-hmm.
dishonest things.
Yeah.
What does he expect him to do? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just what came to mind.
Mm.
Distrusting reader that I am.
Yeah, that's interesting.
George has ruined me. I see shadows in every corner.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadows, slaves of the light. Uh, I don't think I have much else.
Yeah, there's little things. Um, is Denna like killing men? Like Savoy?
Maybe.
Savoy's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about Denna as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like almost like a vampiric kind of quality to her, right? Like bleeds them dry until she can't get anything more from them, and then just kind of tosses them aside, right?
Yeah.
But
That feels trite in a way. I don't know.
but a little maybe,
Yeah.
but maybe it's in that area, but unique somehow. Um, it would be a massive shift to kind of make her a villain based on what we think we know from Coat about her. I mean, he still clearly has strong, I think, positive feelings about this person.
Yeah.
So if she were really a villain, it would be kind of hard to maintain those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Be like but if she was like a pre-turn Mara Jade to like
Yeah.
Rex Kvothe, but he still loves her. Like if Mara hadn't turned and Luke was still like, I don't know how all that went, right? Because I haven't read it, but like if he was still infatuated with her anyway, even though she was dark, could Denna like the wind in the willow, right? That she talks about, that the willow bends to the wind's wishes. Could she kind of like control him? Like, is that what she does?
It feels a little bit like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Both steal me.
yeah.
It's a command, not an invitation.
And is she, yeah, that's right. And is she doing it at someone else's behest too?
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like maybe she doesn't even really want to be doing it, but she's being controlled herself.
Like what's her name in Hercules, the animated one? Meg. Meg
Oh,
in the Disney's Hercules.
been a long
Yeah.
time for me with Disney and Hercules.
That's a cute
Not even
movie.
sure I saw the whole one.
It's a cute movie. It's got my favorite Disney song of all time in it.
Hmm.
I won't say I'm in love. It's like an old it sounds like an old like Motown,
Oh,
the
okay.
Supremes type song,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's delightful. But
Okay.
it's my favorite Disney
Well,
song.
check that out.
Uh
It's not an idea I agree with, but it's fun,
yeah, it
and
is fun.
I'm thinking about it more.
And she doesn't have to be a hero or a villain, right? What if she was like I don't even know what she would be, but like some sort of like supernatural type
Yes.
being, not necessarily like a god or something, but
Yeah.
something where she literally can't stay in, one place very long
Yeah.
because of either responsibilities or her nature or something like that.
Yeah, there were people that I read that thought she was Faye, but I don't like that because I would think Bass would have seen that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He's
Um,
paid some close attention to her, to your point, right?
yeah, yeah,
The ears and the
the ear thing.
nose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
She had perfect ears. So I don't love that idea, but she could, yeah, some other special being of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's a whole part in Wise Man's Fear where um she is composing a song with her patron, and her composing a song about the creation war
Hmm.
that directly conflicts with the story of the creation war that Kvothe has taken as gospel.
Yeah. Okay.
And it kind of, they fight about it. He gets really angry at her, and it kind of lends to that maybe she's being manipulated by this patron, right? And maybe trying to move him a little bit as well, maybe getting him to think a different version of this story could alter
Right.
his course, maybe. um anyway, yeah, interesting stuff there for Denna.
On that note,
Shall we end it?
that's all I got.
All right.
Hopefully this little Debbie After Dark segment, fam, gets you thinking about other possibilities.
Yes, not a whole
We
lot of
end
answers tonight.
no. And rarely do I think that we have the
No,
answers
no,
in an unfinished series like this one. We do it to ourselves and we recognize and acknowledge that. But here we are. Hopefully it gives you something to think about though.
indeed.
Uh Let us sign
Shall we
off.
sign off?
This has been a
Yeah,
great episode. Hope you've
yeah,
enjoyed it. I've definitely enjoyed it.
me too. Always a pleasure.
This is Matt signing off, reminding you that etiquette is a set of rules people use so they can be rude to each other in public.
Who said that?
It's either Will or Sim. It was one of the two of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Scad signing off, telling you to be bold, but don't do anything I wouldn't do.
That's a
So not too bold.
that's a wide canvas, buddy. That's an expansive universe that we have just open to us now.
All right. Good night, Kalasar. Thanks
Good
for
night,
listening.
everybody.